Good evening. So as you can tell, I got the flags put up. I think they turned out pretty well. I just used the lights that I had, the USB LED lights. My my power bank is actually sitting right behind the monitor there because that's the only thing I've got mean enough to power all three of those. So it is what it is. But anyway, that's what's powering them. And until I get LED light strips, that's how I'll have to light it. So anyway, so those came in. I wanted to get them up right away. I don't know. I think they look all right. I can dig it. So anyway, lots gone on since we've last spoke on Thursday night. Um, wow, the shortages and the type of shortages are concerning. Um, Mainly, I'll tell you one thing that I'm really concerned about, and that's this chip shortage. And I'm concerned about that for multiple reasons. The obvious reasons that much of our daily electronics relies on those computer chips. So, even larger shortage of those, which I have a feeling we're going to see, is going to be devastating, and it's going to be across the board when it comes to electronics. Everything from, things like cars that they're already having issues with to, your mobile devices. Um, that's not a market that's really been smacked that hard yet. They've been able to keep devices flowing, like mobile devices, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think there's that big of a shortage when it comes to computer chips yet, but give it a little bit of time and there will be issues. Um, that's a big deal. That's a very, very big deal because especially companies, not only do they rely on being able to expand their computer networks, but they also need to keep up with the faster networks to be able to produce the kind of data that they need to. I say produce, however it is they need to to process that data. It could be any number of ways, anything from calculations to just sending information out, like a server to different nodes or whatever to control inventory, anything. All of that stuff has to be updated over time. And a lot of these companies, like your bigger companies like Walmart and Amazon and stuff like that, they update a little bit more often than, say, your government. Um, they have to. They really don't have a choice because they have to keep up. Um, so that's going to be a kind of a. I don't think that we're going to run into. I don't think we got enough time to run into that issue per se, but more on a consumer level. We're going to see this stuff dry up pretty quick because believe me, they're going to keep plenty on hand for them. They're going to keep plenty. So. But we've already seen currently there's just lots and lots and I mean lots of cars. And it's all over the country this is going on. It's not one particular area. This is happening throughout the country around areas that have, automobile manufacturers. We're seeing these cars being parked because they don't have the computer chips they need to be able to put them in to sell. When are they going to get them? Nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. Um, this is also starting to really hit markets like appliance markets and stuff like that. At this point, it's kind of like I don't want to call it a cascading effect. It's just uh, the dumb luck of what they ran out of. You know what I mean? So those are the types of chips that they were the lowest on, and it will just completely go up the chain as long as these chips aren't being produced. Now, I can't sit here and tell you exactly what is going on, why they're not being produced, and all that jazz, but I can tell you that a number of them are being produced from Taiwan. Now, what is really concerning about that is I don't know how much longer Taiwan is safe and secure. And it doesn't matter who defends Taiwan. It matters that there is conflict in Taiwan. And as long as there's conflict in Taiwan, they're probably not going to be spitting out computer chips. So that is something that we need to keep on our radar. It's not just as easy as, well, the U.S. start making them. It's computer chips. And we're not real good at it. Not making them. We can design the hell out of them. But we don't have the equipment, and Taiwan has just been excellent if you hadn't been able to tell. But that supply could be cut off indefinitely in a heartbeat. And all it would take would be conflict in or around Taiwan. And China is already talking about, I'm assuming, essentially not letting any passage through by ship without contacting them and going through them. And I'm assuming that they even mean to areas of international waters. So I don't know how well that's going to sit. There is definitely a lot of tension that is building up in that area, without a doubt. And it's been ongoing. This isn't something that just started. So I would venture to keep an eye out for that. And, I mean, let's be honest. If there's one thing that the powers that be need at this time, well, two things. It's another war and a distraction from the failures that they are committing at this time. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. They need the American people to have their minds on something else with some type of motivation behind it in a direction that they're the saviors. So, I mean, we've seen it before, and I'm concerned we'll see it again, especially with what's going on, especially with the monumental failures that is happening right now. And I'm not just talking about Afghanistan. I'm talking about across the board. I mean, it's a nightmare, and that's a large part of my concern. Now, getting back to the shortage issue, I discussed computer chips, and I wanted to go into that into a little bit of detail because I think that's going to be a snake that bites us. I really do. I think that's going to be a biggie. I don't know. I'd heard, and I can't remember, to be honest, which channel it was, but there was a channel that said was talking about how there may be a toilet paper issue happening again. I don't know about that. I haven't. That's the only time I've heard anything about it. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't heard anything on that. The shortages that I've heard have been pretty much across the board on different stuff, and it's been various locations. And then, the next time that person goes shopping, things will be, a fair amount better. It seems like around the country it's like sporadic. So I don't know. But there's indeed, at least, there are less choices. There's less being put out for people. That's no doubt. The further concern that I'm having with supply issues is the mandates. There are a significant amount of people throughout the country that are saying hell no. And those individuals include, everything from the medical field to the trucking industry. And I think that you're going to see this expand. We've already seen the insane measures taken in New York City. I would imagine that's probably going to be one of the first places that you see something implemented to where they won't let anybody in or out, or at least in the city, without proof of vaccination. I bet you see it. Then what's going to happen? Truck drivers aren't going to want to deal with that. But I don't think it'd be limited to New York City. I think they're going to do this across the nation if they can get away with it. I think they're going to make it a condition to travel state to state. You have to show your health pass. I don't know what else to call it. So I think there's going to be a lot of supply chain issues. Because I think there's a lot of people that are going to stand their ground with this. This is going to be their line in the sand. And that's going to cause a shock wave of labor shortages as if there wasn't already enough. So I don't see this being something that's going to take a real long time, because I'll tell you, I'm hearing more and more and more companies that are jumping on board saying, yep, you got to be vaccinated. More and more companies. And there are a lot of people that simply do not. They don't want it. So we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to cause supply chain issues across the board. I think it's going to be anywhere from the manufacturing of the goods to the delivery of the goods. Not going to be good times. I can guarantee that. I would imagine you're going to see massive price increases and just plain out unavailability of a lot of different things. And that's why I've been warning for some time now. If there are things that you want and you've got everything that you need, and when I say everything that you need, man, at least at a bare minimum, have 6 months worth of food. At a minimum, please. But if you've got that stuff squared away, you got everything taken care of in that department, and there's stuff that you want, like electronic doodads or whatever, you might want to get on it, because I do not know how much longer that stuff's going to be available. There's a lot of other stuff that's not available at all, really. I hear there's a lot of issues with furniture, for instance. Just various things hit and miss here and there. But I think you're going to continue to see this get worse and worse. I don't think you're going to see these things get better. I think they're going to get worse and worse, and things are going to become more and more unavailable. Now, again, if there's a skirmish that happens with Taiwan, not only will we have the issue I mentioned about the chips, the computer chips, but China is also where we get most of our goods currently. So you have to understand that's going to be cut off as well. So we're not going to have the cheap goods from China. Goods from other nations are probably going to slow down from coming in, especially if there's conflict going on. It could get interesting. It could get really, really interesting. And like I say, there's a lot of individuals that this is their line in the sand. And it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody anything to do. Who am I? You know? But I think there are a lot of individuals that feel, and I myself feel, that either way that you decide is your personal decision. But, man, I'll tell you, this mandating thing, a bad idea. On multiple counts. Just not good. So we'll see what happens. I know several people that have already ran into this, that their employers mandated it, and we'll see. I don't, you know. I know a lot of them have stated that no way in hell. So we'll see what happens. So several individuals in various fields. So in some fields that you wouldn't think it'd be such a thing, but I mean, I guess their companies just bam on it. So we'll see. I think we're gonna be in for a time. So I don't know what food's looking like across the country as far as prices. I do know that there's been a considerable raise where we're at. Over the course of the last several months, it's been a gradual raise. But nothing I would say is really insane that I can tell right now. Everything's just marginally more expensive. So, not super bad, but the bigger items that I get, like say a 5-pound bag of frozen chicken breast, boneless chicken breast, I would say they're like a few bucks higher than what I'm used to paying. Not horrible, but still noticeable. Anyway, but it's not super hard to get stuff. The availability is here, just not quite the amount of choices. The one thing that I will make note of, though, here personally, I don't know where it's like, or what it's like where everybody else is, but the fruit from Walmart, just very dry, and it's just not good. Just doesn't have a lot of flavor, and like I say, very dry. Wasn't that good. So we a couple of times had gotten fruit, and both times it was the same. So but other than that, we've pretty much been able to get anything that we've needed. So I know that I've heard that things like tools in some instances have been starting to get a little bit harder to find. I haven't been shopping for tools, so I don't know, but I have heard that. Can't think of anything else offhand that I've been told specifically that there's been real big issues. I'm sure there's plenty of things, but I know appliances has been one thing. It was hit pretty bad. So, and of course, we all know about the cars. Like I say, I would expect to hear of issues probably before too long on mobile devices, and I would say, I would say it'd probably be like mobile devices and laptops, tablets, stuff like that, and then I have a feeling you'll start to hear more about your regular like desktop PCs and maybe like video cards. I've heard that there has been some of a supply issue with video cards due to the chip shortage, but I think it's the actual supply issue of the chips has just started. Prior to this, it was due to a bunch of crazy stuff with ordering and stuff like that when they had a big release of a video card. So apparently somehow there was a bunch more orders that were put in, I guess, than what were supposed to have been, and I assume they filled the orders. It took them a while. So, but anyway, other than that, I can't think anything. Just get ready, because I don't think that things are gonna get better. I think that it's gonna be like going off a cliff when it starts. I have a good feeling that it's going to start before long, and I think these mandates are really going to kick off something not good. And I think this, the government's going to use several reasons to lock down hard. I really, truly do. We'll see. Just make sure that you're prepared. Make sure you got enough food to be able to get past a spell when you can't get any. That's for certain. Who knows where this is going to go? We have no idea. There are so many things. From my understanding, the unemployment stuff is running out, and so that's something we need to be mindful of. Of course, the eviction thing, I do believe is, for the most part, I believe is done and over. All these things we got to keep an eye out for, because it's gonna bring entire families crashing down. It just is. And you can think what you want on that entire situation. I don't judge people that I don't know. Either way, it's going to be a nightmare. No matter how you slice it, it's going to be a nightmare, and that's just going to be added to the rest of it all. So you could have everything from anti-health pass type of protest or anti-vaccine type of protest to food riots. It's you name it. But definitely not a good situation. Not a good time to be in this country, to be honest, with everything that we're looking at. But what I say, 6 months minimum. I wished I could have enough on hand here to get a couple of years, but 6 months would be pushing it with the space that we've got. So we still add to it, though. I'm surprised the wall doesn't bulge. Anyway, I'm gonna just go ahead and start on some headlines, because we have a ton of them. As usual, I'm going to start with Friday's headlines, because I haven't seen you since Thursday night. So start with Friday's headlines, and I'll tell you, it's been crazy. It's been across the board. go. Fun times. Alright. Starting out with Friday. Americans will likely need a third COVID shot to qualify as fully vaccinated, Fauci says, as booster battle rages at the FDA. So there's that. Firefly's Alpha rocket explodes minutes after liftoff and first ever launch. A New Zealand police shoot and kill suspect who injured multiple people in alleged stabbing attack at Auckland supermarket. And again, this was Friday. Or I put out Friday morning. Stabbing in New Zealand supermarket was ISIS-inspired terrorist attack, says the Prime Minister. China to use Eastern Economic Forum as opportunity to boost cooperation with Russia's Far East. Russia's Sakhalin, I don't know how that's pronounced, to produce, I have no idea, to produce 100,000 tons of green hydrogen and start exports by 2025. And it's a shame because nobody will be able to say their name. Pandemic of the unvaccinated. German health minister says 90% of intensive care patients haven't received the COVID-19 jab. Let's see. Japan's Yoshihide Suga, that's his name, declines to run for re-election as ruling party chief, paving way for his resignation as prime minister. Philippines greenlights Moderna COVID vaccine for 12 to 17-year-olds for emergency use after surpassing 2 million cases. Ukraine's drive to join U.S.-led NATO bloc and bring Western forces closer to Russian border presents serious security risks, says the Kremlin. Russia to establish tax-free zone on Kuril Islands to attract business and draw investors, says Putin. At least one Palestinian killed and 5 injured by Israeli gunfire during violence at Gaza protests. Again, this was Friday. A major deal on developing Russia's big northern sea route sealed at Eastern Economic Forum. A German environmental NGO launches legal action against car makers and oil firm over climate impact. Police in Catalonia bust 2 huge illegal cannabis farms in National Park 2 days after major Europol op. Women share suggestive DMs from Ottawa councilman embroiled in harassment scandal. Twitter breach is to be blamed, his office says. Climate change action is our business, not for others to mandate, says China, as Washington claims global warming isn't political. Flying drone to automatically check holiday makers' temperatures on Italian beach in case of COVID and other emergencies. Yeah, so, man, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Russia open to cooperate with all countries of Asia Pacific, says Putin. Let's see, Biden wants to end U.S. foreign adventures, but the multi-billion-dollar death and destruction industry still has him in its grip. That would be true. EU and drug maker AstraZeneca settle COVID vaccine supply dispute, ending Brussels court action. The UK government plans for death of Queen leaked, upsetting some Brits who protest Politico's bad taste. They say you have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So moving on. Almost 100 missing artifacts from ancient Mesopotamia, including What the hell? Cuneiform tablets, yeah, that. Seized from Norwegian private collection. Stop politicizing the COVID-19 pandemic. Russia's Putin and China's Xi tell the world, calling for cooperation to beat the virus instead. Let's see. French financial prosecutors launched second investigation into former PM Francis Fillon. Russia reveals it may recognize Taliban as Afghan authorities, but only after formation of government, including minority groups. Anti-vax protesters storm UK drug regulator's London office in protest over planned COVID jab for children. Again, this was Friday. There were a lot of headlines Friday. There were actually quite a few today for Sunday. Let's see. IMF transfer pushes Russia's international reserves to historic high. Russia building sanitary shield network of labs working with dangerous viruses to understand pathogens and develop new vaccines. I wonder if they're going to hire Fauci, because I hear he works in that industry, but just what I've heard. Maybe it's on LinkedIn. I don't know. Indonesian president's vaccine passport leaked through official government app, sparking greater security concerns. EU will work with the Taliban, but it does not mean Brussels recognizes their government, says foreign policy chief. Spain police seized 10 tons of contraband tobacco and 36,000 cigarette packets in Seville. You dirty bastards. How dare you? How dare you have contraband tobacco and 36,000 cigarette packets? That is horrible. Human case... Is that even a thing anymore? I mean, seriously? Let's see. Human cases of mosquito-transmitted West Nile virus grow across the U.S. and risk level raised due to significant expansion. So, they'll be coming out with your West Nile vaccine, I'm sure, soon. 7 Afghan evacuees to Germany failed security checks. 4 were previously deported as criminals, says the Interior Minister. So that's good news. Wait. So how many are getting through? After Vladivostok mayor reveals plan to host 2036 Summer Olympics, Putin says he hopes that politics won't prevent successful bid. China's Xi calls for greater cooperation between Belt and Road Initiative and Eurasian Economic Union. The world could face disastrous financial crisis in 2023 on same scale as devastating 2008 to 2009 economic crash, says the Russian central bank. Apple delays I'm going to say it word for word. No, a controversial plan to scan iPhones for child abuse images following privacy backlash. So, they'll just roll it out quietly with their next update. That if you don't accept, your phone will slow down. Allegedly. UK's vaccine advisory body refuses to approve COVID jabs for healthy 12 to 15-year-olds. UK task force calls for making pet abductions a criminal offense after dog napping surged during COVID lockdowns. Russia's space agency to address gender imbalance by adding more females to its squad of cosmonauts, Roscosmos chief reveals. We all know why this is happening. Because the dudes up there on the space station are like, you know what? Never mind, I didn't say that. But you know. Right-wing pundits cry foul after call for audit of recall vote in California due to possible hack of Dominion machines. Hey, it's...
It's really hard to keep my mouth shut right
now. I wonder who's going to have the... I wonder who's going to have the first space brothel. You ever wonder that? Probably not, right? But is it going to be Russia? Let's see. No, it might be this guy right here. Kim Jong-un calls for North Korea to redouble efforts to fight COVID-19 over our style, after rejecting 3 million COVAX vaccines, says a report. Got it all on tape. Russian cops make arrest over viral clip of blogger stuck to side of sports car speeding off at 180 kilometers per hour. Yes, they duct taped him to the side of the car because he's an idiot. 180 kilometers per hour. Let's see. Reports of rare body inflammation after COVID-19 vaccinations being reviewed by an EU watchdog. Let's see. We want peace but ready for war. Panjshir resistance projects confidence as it braces for Taliban offensive. And that's going to change. This is still Friday's news. And I don't know. The Taliban came out and said something to the contrary. So... former Australian PM accuses Scott Morrison of leading country into Cold War with China to become U.S.'s fawning acolyte. A half-shredded Banksy artwork back up for auction for up to 6 times its previous price. Wants it to shred the rest of the way. Taliban celebrates in Kabul after claiming it has captured Panjshir province, resulting in full control of Afghanistan. Let's see. Study says COVID-19 no more a menace to teachers than other professions. Trump says he will definitely run in 2024 after Afghanistan disaster, according to close Republican allies. A major UK COVID-19 test provider faces probe by market watchdog, reportedly still selling tests. Joe Rogan tests negative for COVID-19 after media storm over medication he used. Again, we're on Friday's news. Biden approval rating takes a hit in wake of Afghanistan exit. 53% say he bears some blame for deaths of service members. Social privacy on Twitter, oxymoron or future of cancel culture. It's kind of an opinion piece. Classified 9/11 files to be reviewed under Biden's latest executive order after families disinvited him from the memorial. Last 3 performances of the Muni season are canceled due to breakthrough cases of COVID-19 in the cast. Breakthrough cases. I'd just make sure you heard that word. Hollywood actress suggests women should refuse to have sex with men to fight Texas abortion law. So, spreading the message. I did my part there, Bet. Let's see. Japan orders 188,000 plus people to evacuate from Hiroshima area due to flooding and landslide risk. Syrian air defenses shot down 21 of 24 Israeli missiles fired in latest raid on Damascus, Russian military says. Let's see. Child brides and terrorist ties. U.S. struggles to identify many of 100,000 plus Afghans that evacuated from Kabul. Let's see. Fully vaccinated Oscar La Hoya hospitalized with COVID withdraws from fight with ex-UFC star Belfort. Um, apparently, it really knocked this guy hard. Let's see. Terrified civilians, shots fired and smashed gear. Leaked video of U.S. Afghan exit offers unvarnished look at chaotic evacuation. Oh, we are on yesterday's news. We just started. That was yesterday. More data needed. Top health officials reportedly urge White House to follow science and delay vaccine booster plans. Prime Minister Modi announces India will help Russia turn Arctic seas into global trade route. Russia and China continue ditching U.S. dollars and settlements in favor of national currencies. Facebook apologizes after its AI put primates label on video about black men. Russia's agricultural exports soar as shipments to Europe and South Korea see wild surge. Russia to build new cargo port in Vladivostok to boost development of Far East. Chinese media mocks Japan as Tokyo apologizes to Okinawans for U.S. Marines' sudden dumping of safe wastewater from base. Taliban asks its fighters to stop shooting in the air after reports of people killed and injured in celebratory gunfire. Chaos at London's Heathrow Airport as passengers forced to wait for 5 hours in packed queues despite COVID-19 risk. Let's see. Russia and India have tremendous potential in energy cooperation, says India's energy minister. Iran tells U.S. to drop addiction to sanctions after Iranians blacklisted over alleged kidnapping plot of journalist. Let's see. All avenues for his detention were exhausted. Details leading up to ISIS-inspired knife rampage in New Zealand released. Again, this is yesterday's news. Lyft and Uber milk publicity from outrage over Texas abortion law offering drivers protection from bounty lawsuits. Facebook, Twitter, and Telegram face nearly $1 million in fines for repeated failure to delete content. Government should be voted out in elections because of COVID capacity curbs placed on stadiums, urges Norway football manager. A scuffle between police and counter-protesters as Antifa shows up to disrupt anti-migrant rally in London. Taliban clashes with women protesters during rally for equal rights near presidential palace in Kabul. Again, this is yesterday's news. Let's see. No further powers to Brussels. Hungary's foreign minister calls for more sovereignty within the EU. UK care workers leave industry en masse after being told to get vaxxed or quit, with unions begging government to reconsider the policy. That's going on in the UK. Rescue groups say U.S. tally misses hundreds left in Afghanistan. Thousands flood Paris streets protesting against COVID-19 health passes across France. Men with zip ties threaten school principal with citizen's arrest after student is told to quarantine over COVID-19 fears. Let's see. Thousands of people joined demonstration for just and caring society in Berlin. A restaurant that banned Biden supporters after Afghanistan disaster gets so popular it has to shut down due to demand. Let's see. This is life from now on. Israel's coronavirus czar warns people to prepare for a fourth injection of COVID vaccine. Top U.S. general expects civil war, terrorism resurgence, and more American airstrikes in Afghanistan. French riot cops brutally arrest 2 women but retreat and face a big crowd of anti-COVID pass protesters in Paris Mall. Oh, we are on today's news. We just started today's news, so let me have a sip of tea here, a couple of baits. Usually on Sunday I don't get done this early because of 5 million headlines. Got just a touch of flying in today, so I've got to get back to working on the website tomorrow, and it should be good to go by midweek. So, for the most part, fun. Lots of copying and pasting to do, with minor edits. Oh, fun times. Alright. Continuing on. Alright, let's see. Again, we're on today's news that I put out today. Russia's Gazprom ramps up production as gas exports surge. Divers dispatched to find source of 14-mile oil spill in Gulf of Mexico after Hurricane Ida. Energy firm denies it's responsible. Montenegrin police fire tear gas and stun grenades amid protests over Orthodox church leader's inauguration. China eyes its surging $9.82 trillion fund industry, warning new regulations are coming. Israeli public must support its troops or there'll be no one left to protect it, the IDF chief warns. Let's see. Pickaxe-wielding man attacks car carrying Japanese director Takeshi Kitano in Tokyo. Russia's foreign trade turnover up 12%. Wow. Hey, I got this guy's name somewhere close, so cut me some slack. Russia's foreign trade turnover up 12% against pre-pandemic levels. West to hoard 1.2 billion doses of spare vaccines by year's end, analyst says, as pressure mounts to share with poor and outdo China. 10 police officers killed in Islamic State attack in northern Iraq, and militants' roadside bombs destroyed 3 vehicles, says reports. Yuan trade settlements between Hainan and ASEAN up 7-fold in 2021. Taliban orders commanders to disarm and arrest fighters for celebratory gunfire as practice kills and maims civilians. Russia and China start production of jointly designed passenger aircraft, says reports. Arctic has enough reserves to supply Russia for centuries, says a Russian official. UK mulls introduction of vaccine passports at large venues to avoid another COVID-19 lockdown, the vaccines minister says. Prince Charles' ex-valet steps down as head of his charity as he reportedly offered knighthood and citizenship to a rich Saudi donor. The whole world, including Russia and China, must prevent terrorists from using Afghanistan for attacks abroad, says the NATO chief. Children can get COVID-19 vaccine even if their parents are opposed, the UK minister says. A heavy gunfire breaks out in Guinea's capital, president reportedly detained by military in apparent coup. Horse dewormer overdose story debunked. We have no such doctor and treat people as normal, the hospital says. Apparently there was a story that was being ran with that turned out not to be true. So, CNN's national treasure Jim Acosta labels Fox's Tucker Carlson human manure spreader and blasts American Taliban on the right. Those are just horrible words. Let's see. Women rule. California's governor delivers unhinged speech ahead of recall vote. Pfizer booster will likely be approved by September 20th, Fauci says, after claiming further doses needed to be fully vaccinated. So now you're not going to be, quote-unquote, fully vaccinated until 3 doses, apparently. So, ungrateful Afghan refugee angers Americans after complaining about meager food at Texas facility. Leader of Afghanistan's resistance group says he's ready to talk with the Taliban as they claim reaching Panjshir province capital. Republican congressman accuses Taliban of holding planes with U.S. evacuees hostage at northern Afghanistan airport. Let's see. South Africa's jailed ex-president Zuma released on medical parole. Alt-right figure Richard Spencer becomes broke and isolated by surrounding community, says media. Let's see. Tens of thousands of people march against vaccine passports in Amsterdam. Former Marine surrenders to police after killing 4, including baby, in his mother's arms. Insane story. Insane story. Let's see. Israel to brief FDA on COVID-19 vaccine boosters as health experts seek data to back Biden's 3rd jab rollout plan. Telling you, it is coming. It is coming. I probably need to do a Rumble video. It's probably due for that. Past due for that. Anyway. If I do, I will make a notification video, put it up on YouTube with the link so you guys know where to go see that video. So, it is what it is. I don't want to catch another strike here just for trying to be a little more detailed with my speak. So, it is what it is. Anyway, I am going to make it a quick Sunday. Why not? And relax the rest of the night. So, who am I kidding? We'll probably be in bed pretty quick. Anyway, I am out of here. I hope you all have a good evening. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Hope to see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.